Oh, okay. And then since the slides are already here, so let me start with this slide. This just shows the whole world, the relationship between corruption and economic growth. So which one is the point? Yeah. The horizontal axis is the index for clean government, and the vertical axis is per capita GDP growth rate. And if you here, there's raw data this with initial income control. So you can see China is an outlier there, right? China is one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Probably the third, belongs to the third most corrupt country, but with really high income growth. So that's it's kind of the puzzle there, right? If you think about China, it really has weak institutions, right? But then why economic growth has been so dramatic? Of course, you can think about the theory, like the grazing wheel theory to explain economic growth in China. But probably there are more to that. Here, I just want to mention one. Right? We can think about the other things, but here, let me just point out the one. That is the Chinese system put into some positive incentive for government officials to work hard. Right? Usually, when we think about the institutions, we always think about them as kind of providing constraints for government officials, right? So not allowing government officials to go beyond the boundary of something. But in the Chinese case, the system provides more positive incentives for the government officials to do good things for the society, in the same time still pursuing their own interests. Okay. So this is what I just want to talk about one thing. This is the selection of government officials. Okay. For that, I just coined the name selectocracy. Right. So the Communist Party works as the selector and selects the government officials from the very bottom up to the top. Okay. And this system provides a strong incentive for government officials to work hard. Of course, they are corrupt, but in the meantime, they have to work hard in order to get promoted. You can see many of those government officials who have been caught in this round of anti-corruption drive were actually quite capable, although they were also very corrupt. Okay. So this, in the end, economic growth becomes the most important criteria for promotion. You can think about the other things that we all know from the multitasking theory. The indicator that's the easiest to measure is going to dominate, right? So economic growth and also revenue are the most important and also easiest to measure. So that's why they become the only thing in promotion. So here is a graph from one of our studies. So we just look at whether government officials from cities matter for local economic growth. This is kind of a measure of the capability or relative contribution of government officials to local economic growth. And you can see they're quite dispersed, which means they're quite different, right? So government officials do make a difference in terms of local economic growth. And here we have a chart from another study of ours looking at what kind of capabilities are really working. We measure, this is the measure of the so-called true capability, like native capability. And we just divide the government officials into 4 groups, from the lowest to the highest. And this is incentive. So we define incentive as the actual growth rate when you move 1 year toward the election year, right, or the party congress year. So it's kind of the political cycle effect. And you can see there is a perfect substitution between incentive and capability. For those guys with the lowest level of capability, they really respond to incentive. Right? But for the most capable group of government officials, they actually don't respond that much. Okay, so that shows the selection process is working to some extent. Here I borrow the graph from other people's studies by Landry and his students. Okay. Look at, let's see, this is Party Secretary, this is the executives. They have done a fantastic job to connect the data. They collect a lot of data, and they include the data from the county, those are for the county, for the city, and provincial government officials, and then look at the relationship between revenue growth and their probability to get promoted. And so you can see for lower ranking government officials, like a county level, city level, performance really matter, right? But when you move up, actually, it doesn't matter that much. Executives, not much so, but still you have an order over there. So there is a clear substitution between competence and loyalty, right? When you move up, you care about loyalty more than competence, but you really want to have more people to get into the system. So at the bottom, you want to use capability more. Okay. So then this is the selection process, right? But then you require a central government that cares about growth. Otherwise, they're not going to select government officials according to their capability. So that's why I want to talk about what I call a disinterested government. Okay. So a disinterested government means it's a government that not captured by any interest groups and does not represent the interest of any groups, right? And because of that, it can have a free hand to adopt economic policies that are good for long-term economic growth, just for the sake of its own survival, right? I have to say in the last 30-some years, the Chinese government has been more or less disinterested. But of course, you can argue between, say, 2002 and 2010, it was not that disinterested, right? You see a lot of factions inside of the government, and also interest groups, politics has developed quite rapidly. But if you look at a long time period, right, then I would say that the government is more or less disinterested. For example, in this government, President Xi Jinping really wants to walk in the middle. He doesn't want to be part of just the peasant class, or it doesn't want to be a representative of the left or the right, right? So he intentionally makes the signals really mixed up, okay? So in conclude, I have to say, looking at the evolution of institutions and how institutions work in China, we can have a better understand of this Coase approach to economic research. That is, you have to look at the real world. You start with the real world and look at how the real world works. And I believe by looking at the real world, we are going to get a deeper understanding about how institutions work. Thank you.